You doing okay, ma'am? Yes. Okay.
Laymondra Brewer-Thomas's work wasn't always this steady. Before starting as an assistant manager at this Chicago Walgreens, making ends meet meant working an exhaustive number of hours between two jobs. One at McDonald's, the other at women's clothing store Lane Bryant.
My schedule was all over the place, between 32 to 40 hours with McDonald's. Lane Bryant, I want to say maybe 20 hours out of the week. So I was juggling both jobs at the time. It was stressful. It was overwhelming at times because I wasn't where I wanted to be.
Brewer-Thomas's work situation exemplifies a new normal for millions of American workers: underemployment. The national unemployment rate has dropped from its Great Recession peak of 10% to 4.3%. But if you include people who have stopped looking in the last month, or those involuntarily working only part-time, you get the nation's underemployment rate. It was 17.1% at the peak of the recession. Today, it's at 8.4%. Bob Bruno is a labor and employment relations professor at the University of Illinois.
While it's true that the unemployment rate has been halved, and that's all to the good, to some degree it really is masking some real difficulty that workers are having out there in the economy.
In Illinois, the underemployment rate is one of the highest in the country, averaging 10.3% since last year. That's something that Ronald Jackson knows all too well. The 54-year-old Illinois native feels he has many more years of work left in him. The problem is finding a company willing to give him a full-time job. How stable has it been for you?
Not very stable, because you don't know if you'll be there 1 minute or the next, because they can say, well, we only need you for 1 week, and most of the workers they can't plan. They just have to go day by day, and hopefully that they're still working.
Currently out of work, Jackson spent much of 2016 in a patchwork of jobs. This past fall, he was working at this pallet supply company, earning $350 every week with no benefits. That job ended after 3 months.
Most jobs, when they're not even hire you for 40 hours, they'll give you 25 hours. And who's going to want to work for 25 hours? And that's right there, bus fare already gone after you take out the taxes. So there's not saying that there's jobs out here. Where? I mean, people want to work, but if I'm going to work, I need 40 hours.
Part-time used to be temporarily, and it used to be a gauge. People start back to work part-time, it builds into full-time. People who want full-time can find it. The people who stay part-time are voluntarily choosing to be in that. But we're finding that's not the reality anymore.
How does this impact the economics of a working family?
There is nothing but insecurity. There's instability constantly. You can't feel comfortable at any point in time with the hours you've been assigned or the income you've earned, because it's never enough. How a middle class emerges out of this population, it really is an open question.
Let me know if you need me, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
That question led Laymondra Brewer-Thomas to Skills for Chicagoland's Future, a public-private partnership that works with more than 50 Chicago area companies, like Walgreens and Chase Bank, to fill vacancies with qualified, unemployed, or underemployed job seekers. Marie Lynch is the group's CEO. How common is Laymondra's story?
Very common. On an annual basis, we find about 35% of the 1,100 people we serve are underemployed. Folks who are either not working full-time or are working at a wage or type of job that was less than they previously were at prior to the recession.
Shortly after connecting with Skills for Chicagoland's Future, Brewer-Thomas got her interview with Walgreens. Today, she's relieved to be working there full-time with healthcare benefits and a retirement plan, with the goal of becoming a store manager.
It's a lot more challenging now to actually find employment and to find employment that may be best suited for your needs.
Did you feel beforehand that you had a jobs network or an employment network that you could tap into?
No. It was a struggle, talking to individuals I went to school with and et cetera, but individuals I went to school with, friends and colleagues and et cetera, a lot of them were in the same boat that I was in at that time and are still in the same boat that I previously was in.
Has there been a systemic shift in the way that companies manage their workforce? Is this emphasis on a part-time, scalable workforce something that's shifted within management thinking?
I think that there has been some structural changes to how they're approaching work, and to what I saw early on was really an attempt to manage risk, and to be cautious as they were, coming out of that recession.
For companies, managing risk means managing labor costs, including the number of hours people work. And many companies have adopted computer software to help them do that.
Meaning your managers reduce unnecessary overtime and create schedules aligned with budgets.
Dayforce is a program used by about 3,500 companies like major retailers Guitar Center and Sephora. John Orr is a senior vice president of Ceridian, the company behind the software.
It really optimizes who they put where, when, and what skills and information they need.
He says Dayforce enables employers to quickly respond to the shifts in their respective markets and adjust to their employees' needs.
What we've done is we've come to the market with Dayforce that allows the business side to optimize its people in part-time or shorter hour increments, but at the same time it allows the employee to get the hours. If they're only allowed to get 15 hours in this location, but they're able to get another 15 hours in another location, the employee wants the 30 hours. And our system's smart enough to know how to do that.
This flexible scheduling ability came as the retail industry, which employs over 3 million people in America, has increasingly relied on part-time workers. Mark Cohen used to be the CEO of Sears in Canada, and now is an industry consultant and Columbia University Business School professor.
You need somebody to open the door in the morning and someone to lock the door at night, but you really want to staff your physical space when the customer is shopping. And to the degree that folks have been able to predict that, that's been the basis for increased part-time employment.
Is there evidence that productivity increases if you have workers that are, say, working at 30 or fewer hours a week, or is productivity higher if workers are in a full-time capacity?
So this is a difficult issue. There's no formulaic solution. There are organizations that hold their full-time employees dearly, and so they pay the price of a dip in business and they keep those folks employed. There are other folks who track on a more point-to-point basis. They fire and hire, and I think they're probably characterized as penny wise and pound foolish. They appear to be operating more efficiently, but they pay an enormous cost in hiring and retraining and turnover.
With retail stores struggling against competition from the internet, Cohen predicts increased instability for those employed in the retail sector.
So right now you can shop online with a keyboard and a screen. And I would say in a couple of years, you'll start shopping online with a headset that will let you walk through a store, whether it's real or virtual, point to something that interests you, pick it up virtually, and then decide to buy it.
Really represents a dark shadow for the person that works on the floor of a mall or of a clothing store.
Absolutely.
Do you think had you not found Skills for Chicagoland's Future, you would be where you are?
I'm not sure. I could still be juggling between two jobs or still attempting to find something that's better suited for my needs and wants and my career path in general. So I know I would keep pushing, but I'm not sure.